And we're live. Welcome to this wonderful, beautiful, incredible Saturday. It's incredible. I have a string. All right. Oh, well, that one's planted. So anyway, welcome. Coming out for Saturday night. Saturday night. Yeah. Let's get patriotic. Maybe just a little bit. Well, hello, Robert Willis. It's nice to see you, my friend. So very nice to see you. Probably get a copyright strike for this. Well, hi, Joe Mama. It's nice to see you. Great to see you. This is a song I always have for all my rallies, everywhere I go. It's what they play before I come up on stage to talk to all of you people. Did you hear him today, by the way? We'll go into what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. Did you hear him earlier today? He was talking about taking all the hair off. And you know what? He looked pretty badass. He'd look good bald. You got to grow a nice big fat Donald Trump, tight beard, bald, little goatee, looking badass. He'd look good. Got a lurker in the stream. Could it be KK? Probably not. KK fell off the map. Where'd KK go? KK. From the lakes of Minnesota. That's what I just said. Across the plains of Texas. It's a good song. You guys, I got something incredible in my left eye. Seriously. All right, I'm not going to let it bother me too much. It already, aloha to you, my Hawaiian Oahu brother man. Salad, bro. He's salad, bro. And I'm proud to be free. This is real. It's a great song. Okay, well, let's fade that out. So I've been going on Tuesday nights. Tonight I'm going on tonight, which is Saturday night. So, hello. Welcome to Saturday night. A lot going on. If you haven't been paying attention, let's talk about it a little bit. A lot going on, actually. Lots. Let's play a little more music. Why not? Because, you know what? That's what the fast forward button is for. So maybe we'll play something energizing. There we go. Now we won't do any of that. Forget all that. All nonsense. Let me plug this in, though, because I've been running this poor baby out of juice. Needs a juice. That phone needs juice. There we go. Now we're rocking. Okay. Something coming through. That's not great. Notifications come through and they make noises. I don't know if you hear them, but I do. Anyway. Great of you to be here on this Saturday night. I will say, leading into tonight, is that YouTube is a much quieter, boring place today. If you're not hip to what I'm saying, some of my very best channels that I love the content were scrubbed off of YouTube today. They were all their work was just wiped, gone. And I don't want to go into so much detail about how much BS that is, that they could just strip the content creators of all their hard work. And some of these people really worked at it. But what it does is it offers a hole in the truth community that I think channels that have 5,000 to 10,000 people that are subs probably are the next voices of the truth movement. Maybe I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe these channels that got scrubbed will come back miraculously after November 3rd. Maybe they'll be reinstated. I would hope that's the case. But, you know, what I really want to talk about, I guess, is the panic. What's really going on in DC with the panic? I mean, it really is a drag, you guys, that these channels got taken down from their platforms, destroyed, gone. All that work. What it does is it signifies. What do you think it signifies? It signifies, you know, the wheels are, the train is coming off the tracks. The train is clearly coming off the tracks on that side of the political spectrum. That's the only reason to get rid of all these channels. And in the mainstream television, hit piece after hit piece after hit piece. And I'll go into it, but, you know, the drops have been sort of plentiful through the day. And what it does is it paints the picture overall. I guess I'll paint it with a broad brush and then get into the details of it. But what it does is it paints. Let me think about that for a second. What it does is it shows that there's panic in DC and that they're doing everything in their power to completely erase everything. And the walls are absolutely crumbling in. And I know that these are DNC talking points they've used over the past 3 years talking about the Trump candidacy and presidency. You know, the walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in the Trump presidency. You know, the events leading around, I'm afraid that the walls are closing in. Well, stop, reverse, and rechange where the magnifying glass is off of Trump, and it's, as most of you are aware, clearly been redirected into the Democrat Party. And they got big problems. They got big problems. Big. They got issues. I think it's amazing that the vice president candidate to running for president of the United States is everybody's just like, what? Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. No, it's all good. Everything's good. It's like, do you not realize what's like the information, the truth that's, and mainstream television just feels like if they just ignore it, I suppose it'll just go away. The big problem in what they're dealing with right now is they don't have a deterrent right now to take the focus off what we're viewing, what we're witnessing. They don't have a misdirection, something that could be harmful. They don't have that at their disposal because the ammunition coming from that side has been expelled. Basically, any major ammunition has been expelled. Are we to seen it? No, I think things with 16 days left to go until this election. Oh, you guys, what a tremendous time to be alive. And we're going to talk more about that. Absolutely, we're going to talk more about that. What a tremendous time to be alive. And there's some things that are going on, coincidentally, with early voting that are, man, they are pointing things in the right direction. If any of you have been following it, give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. Let me know you've been following it, what's been going on with the early voting, because that in and of itself is already historic. at least in my home state, in the direct. Tremendous. It's tremendous, Doug. Tremendous. And it is tremendous, let me say. You know, President Trump was here in West Michigan today, this afternoon, and the conditions were not great. It wasn't really raining, but it was kind of in the forecast all day, and it was kind of windy. And you know, he came in and spoke today at a place called Muskegon, Michigan. It's Muskegon. It's about 30 miles, 35 miles west and slightly north of Grand Rapids in Michigan. It's right on Lake Michigan. It used to be a really, really, like back in like post World War II, excuse me, it used to be a huge lumber yard all through the 1800s. There were lumber mills. The river, the Muskegon River, ran down to Muskegon, and where all these big lumber areas were all through Michigan, would cut the lumber down, it'd fall in the Muskegon River, and it would float to Muskegon. Well, that's where President Trump was today. So this place is full of blue collar Michiganders, I guess you would say, who have watched a lot like the cities of Flint and Benton Harbor and Saginaw. You know, these are some of these towns that were really launched from like the automobile industry, you know, but more importantly, manufacturing was kind of the calling card of Michigan. You know, we were workers, I guess is what you'd say. But that's the general theme everywhere, right? Everybody's workers, but we were, you know, assembly line type working state. But those positions in you know, corporations left through the disastrous trade deals of prior presidents, which I don't need to go through. Doesn't matter how we got here, we're here. Well, he, you know, strategically brought himself back to Muskegon, Michigan, a small town that, you know, feels like it can be revitalized. And one thing every state in the union can agree on is that they all have a Muskegon, Michigan. They all have that manufacturing hub that has suffered, you know, over the last 2 decades of these terrible trade deals have, you know, destroyed the heart of these communities, and then they're taken over and run over with corruption and, you know, abandonment of buildings. And it just all gives a really, really bad look on a city that should be thriving, but by design, you know, is to be part of that deep state plan to take down those very things that were, you know, the base, the foundation of our country came from these hardworking manufacturing towns. And these are the things that they tried to rot out. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. When I, in the past, spoke about it, the goal of socialism, and more importantly, the Fabian socialism movement, was to destroy from within. And that's why we got to this. So we're going to bring back, hopefully, by re-electing President Trump, 16 days. Don't forget. Make sure you vote. Make sure you encourage people to vote. Help people vote. But this is going to hopefully really bring some revitalization back into not only Michigan, but all across the United States. You know, I think it's about to be a real golden era in the history of America, if I'm being perfectly blunt. We're about to hit a golden age. And it's going to filter in across the world. If you're pulling yourself out of wars and you're promoting peace, I mean, that's a pretty good sign. It's a pretty good sign, you know. And I won't get into this tonight. I know a lot of people like to, promote the fact that Trump is bringing peace throughout the world. There's probably a time in the Bible when that's going to be pertinent and the right person is going to fit that mold, but that mold isn't right now. Now, what we're going through is a cleansing. We're going through a cleansing of evil. And it's being put center stage before all of our eyes. Those who can see, those who have, discernment and maybe are, kind of connected with, maybe asking a higher power to understand what you're viewing, what you're going through. And you've probably had that for a very long time. I mean, it really isn't anything magical. It's common sense. It's having a good heart and being able to take in information and exercising good common sense. And that leads you not down all these rabbit holes that they want to pretend that QAnon is. I mean, if you listen to the ridiculous things that they're trying to pin to that movement, that's not any of you in any way, shape, or form. But they don't have any other plays. They have to attack this message, even though they can't attach to anything. They've tried to scotch tape some of their cronies to this movement. They've tried to put some wackadoodles up there and make them do some crazy, dumb shit. And maybe they're MK Ultra. Maybe. But the movement and what it is so pure in its final destiny that it just rejects that kind of behavior out of it. It has no room within this type of movement. And they cannot defend against that. Together, we are strong. Together is how we defeat this. Anyway, I'm going to read a couple Q drops here. Thanks for coming tonight. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for showing up. Saturday night. I guess it makes it all right. She said, baby, haven't got enough gas. And baby, I said, little red Corvette. Baby, it's much too fast. Ooh, ooh, little red Corvette. I need a lover that's gonna last. I wish I knew what he said when he goes back into this voice and he said something, And she said, meow, meow, and he said, meow, 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 meow. And I said, little red Corvette, baby, it's much too fast. Ooh, ooh. That's my jam. Not really. My left eye will not stop watering, you guys. You see me playing with it? I got a consistent flow up. I'm backed up or something. This just happened 20 minutes before I came on tonight. It was like something's irritating my eye, and I tried to flush it out. Now it's like being dumb. It's being dumb. I'm pretty sure more beer will help. Sometimes I'm my worst enemy. I play doctor to myself often and give myself bad advice, but you know what? It's all right. I'm in okay shape. I'm all right. My health's all right. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes, Lieutenant Dan. I just don't. My issues in the chat. In the chat. I see them. Okay. Something I wanted to really, I didn't take any notes tonight, but I had some things that were on my mind, and this is one of the things that were on my mind mostly, really, but in no random order of how I was going to talk about it tonight is relax. You got to stay relaxed. You have to rely mostly on the progression of these events and how they've gone. There's been nothing ramping up. There's nothing connecting anything to anything crazy. Just talking about that just a little bit ago. Yeah, like 4 minutes ago. But you can't allow yourself, or at least I'll tell myself, I can't allow myself to get wrapped up into any of this BS that I'm hearing. Like AG Barr, Attorney General Bill Barr, is bought. And because he's not going to disclose any of the information and the findings until after the election, that proves he's a deep state puppet. My friends, you guys, you have to step back and take a deep breath and tell yourself, do I have discernment or not? Has everything that has been proven to us as a movement, and not just me, not just Bill, and not just you, but us times a multitude. And in that multitude are some very brilliant, brilliant minds. And this level of truth does not get reached unless you're enlightened to receive it. Because it's proven itself along the way to be everything that we've been told it is. And if that in and of itself is true, then you are in fact watching the movie. And I might reiterate that every live stream that I go. But you know what? That brings me comfort. Not because I watch movies. It's just that they needed to pick something that was familiar to everybody, that they knew that this was in control, that there was a controlled outcome to this. And while there can be things that go haywire one way or another, they're in control of this narrative, of this operation. They're in control of it. And you can't listen to the mainstream television right now. They're going off the rails. They're dying in front of your eyes. They're dying. They're not going to go quietly. We don't know how crazy it's going to get. But what we do know, you guys, is that there's 16 days left until, I guess I won't frame it that it's going to be the death of the deep state, because I think they're pretty powerful beyond that. But when Trump, in my opinion, wins the re-election in a margin that's not disputable, they've been building this up to come out in a way that it can't fail. And it required participation of the American people. It gripped the world, but it's going to take the participation, and they got the participation of the American people. They have it. And that's the only thing that can derail any of this is for him not to win re-election, and that's just not on the table. So we're watching a well-scripted movie. And if you feel down at times and you feel like it's chaotic to the point where I can't believe they're saying this about him, or I can't believe they're allowed to get away with this, I can't believe that they allow them to. Yes, you can. You can believe it. You've been shown that this is what they were going to do. You've been made for this moment. All of us have been made for this moment. We're not any kind of individual in this, but collectively, we were made for this moment. Those with eyes to see and ears to hear are who are on board with this movement. Think about everything this movement and what it represents. It represents taking down a huge percentage of evil in this world. The very top levels of evil in this world. What could be more evil than the things that are being liberated out of what's going on? And we know. And if you don't know, put something in the chat or put a comment in this video once it posts that you don't understand. But I mean, the information's there. This is taking down something that is bigger than anybody could have even dreamed of what it would be, and it just is. And I think the real encouraging part of all this is that President Trump is doing 2 or 3 rallies a day and doing it a couple days in a row or whatever, but the man is moving. He's on the move. And wherever Joe Biden goes, there's nobody there, and there's no excitement. That should tell you one thing. The only way that man wins this election is if they steal it. But if you didn't think for a second that you're not watching a movie and that this has been thought of already, and they've closed that option as they've done so many times, then we're not paying attention to the movie. They've closed that gap. They've closed that option. Everything they're doing about trying to extend voting by mail in and past the election is failing in the lower courts everywhere. Boom, it's one win after another. Boom, in the lower court. Boom, you don't get to extend it past election day. That is what happened here in Michigan. Not only did Governor Whitmer lose her case in the Michigan Supreme Court to extend her mask laws, or whatever that was, they, totally lost it. But you know what I was saying. Trump called her out today too. She got all butthurt and tweeted out. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find her tweet. She was like, that's the kind of behavior that's why those maniacs tried to kidnap me or something like that. And I'm sure I got it wrong. But it was probably pretty close. But it was basically he talk about, because people were chanting lock her up and that kind of shit in Michigan. And her Twitter profile has a picture of her with a mask on, of course. And she decided to, I don't know what's wrong with these people. This is the other point I was going to make. Thank you, me, for going forward. So I remember what I wanted to say is that early mail voting in Michigan is going splendidly for President Trump. In the past, Republicans traditionally didn't vote early, and the Democrats would vote early that we're going to vote, and then the Republicans would vote a little bit, and then it would all be whatever they're going to get got reeled in back at the, when people show up on November 3rd to vote in person. That's when any kind of Republican gains would be made. However, Republicans are mailing in votes early. Like they don't have a tally of who actually votes for what, but they have a tally of who's mailed back from what they're registered at. And that percentage from Republicans is way, way, way up. And if it's anything indicative of what's going on with the momentum behind President Trump, the continuation of this Make America Great, presidency, is that He wins Michigan in a landslide. In a landslide. And I'm not going to let anybody go to sleep on that and think they can't vote. I mean, I think people that are going to vote for Trump know that they can't go to sleep and not vote and say, it's in the bag. You're pretty much either awake at this point or you're really not. And it just depends on that point to what degree. And if you simply vote against Trump because you think Orange Man bad and you have TDS, well, as long as he wins, I guess I could take it easy on you as a human being, because it means that despite your ignorance, you're going to have a great future, even though you don't deserve it, because you're so self-absorbed into your own life and into your own ignorance that the rest of us have to pull up the slack for you. And something about that just doesn't feel right. But regardless, you're welcome. Merry Christmas. From me and everybody watching to you, the ones that'll never see this, that are ignorant AF. A to the F. My last video I did, they took a snapshot thumb of me during my live stream. And you guys, I swear to God, I can't make this up. The picture was, it went to me, and when you rolled over it, it was me going like this. And then it freezed. Like, that's what they did. That's what they did to me. Oh, well. I'll leave it up. I don't care. I ain't scared. How are you guys tonight? It's nice to see you. Happy Saturday. I can't wait for Saturday. The greatest key to what? Is not letting the enemy know when you're going to attack. Yes, that is true. That sounds like some excuse me. I forget what it's called. Art of the Deal stuff. Art of War. Oh, Rubber Wallace. You're listening to the Art of War. Sorry, I don't mean that to be a slam. I'm sorry to you and your people, Mr. Nozawa. Great Informer is in the house. He says in his best Trump voice, Joe Biden create holy water by boiling the hell out of it. Okay? He boils the hell out of it, makes it go away, doesn't want to come back. That water gets boiled, and then it goes away. Okay? I was talking to a certain wife of mine that you all know, and we were kind of laughing and joking a little bit about, like, President Trump, because I think he's a character, amongst other things. I think he is just a frickin' card. And if you're on the right side of humanity, you know what he's doing. You appreciate it, and I'm sure you all do. But one of my favorite moments of him was when they were going through this whole thing during the early stages of Corona. And they were really trying to nail him on the fact that he was calling it the Kung Flu. and he was going, the virus from China, okay? Came from China. Didn't come from Russia, came from China. And Kung Flu, it's Kung Flu, it's Kung Flu, people. And he started coming out and doing his briefings every day. And I cannot remember, I wish I could. The reporter, it was one of the big three, not Fox. It was either MSNBC or it was CNN. I can't remember. But she was of Asian persuasion. And unfortunately, I don't know what that is either, because that covers a lot of countries. Anyway, you get the point. She comes out hammering him. She's like, blah, 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 and he's like, answers it. And he just stops and he goes, I don't know if he says stop or he didn't say stop. He's like, hold on. He goes, we're going to take it nice and easy. Okay? Nice and easy. Okay, go ahead. And then he made her, but he just shut it down because these people by this point had gotten like they were like rabid reporters, and that's a whole nother topic that we won't get into. But I mean, these people aren't showing this desperation because they give a shit. They're taking their marching orders, which clearly you know. And I know, and now we all know. Okay? We all know. Hawaii is a melting pot, me. Everything here is built of all of us making fun of each other. No kidding. Well, that's what happened. And then you guys turded out Mazie Hirono as I'm just kidding, man. I don't hold that against you, Nozawa. You're one of the good ones in Hawaii. I know you're scratching your head too, going, I don't know how we did that. Something happened. So I was like, I thought we sacrificed her down a volcano 7 years ago, man. How'd she end up on the Senate? This is nuts. Came from the Ottawa-Kamichi tribe. Asian persuasion, bruh. If you don't know, sometimes people accuse me of liking Asian persuasion. That's true, but not really true. I don't know. That just felt like a good Trump word to say was Asian persuasion. I had to say it. Sorry. The rest of that is nothing. Oh my gosh. You guys. We're standing at the precipice. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I start saying a sentence and it sounds to me like it comes to like try. I was about ready to go. You guys, we're standing at, and I just want to say, we're standing at the precipice. We're standing at the precipice of something we've been standing at for a while. They make fun of us. They make fun of us, and I don't care. Any one of them could take this video, slow it down, take it in little segments and little chunks. I've thought about this. I will not at all be surprised if one day one of these leftists takes a video like mine, stops and takes a little cut and shows me being a goof off, because I am. I mean, let's be honest. I like to have a good time and joke around about shit. And they could totally take me and go, see, these are the people. These are the people that are leading this movement. It's like, no, man, totally not. Not at all. Anybody following that movement is not going to do anything crazy. We're going to take it nice and easy, okay? You take it all nice and easy. It was like Dirty Harry. He was Dirty Donald, okay? The Dirty Don. Dirty Donald. They call me Dirty. They call me Double D for sure. All right, that's just beyond dumb. I'm sorry. All right. What's new with you guys? Have you guys been feeling stressed? I wanted to ask that. You guys, I am partly doing this video not because I was like, oh my God. But what I was feeling is like, oh my God. Like, why am I not at peace right now? Like, why is my chi not in proper form? No, I just felt kind of mixed up and jumbled, and truth be told, I wouldn't say I'm a fanatical prayer, but I would say that I pray really well for myself and the world, like twice a day. And then I'll throw a mini prayer here and there, like kapow, kapow, kapow. Thank you for this bagel in Jesus' name. I pray. And I eat it. And then I eat it. I take it and I eat it. And that's how that goes. But overall, I do believe in doing some good prayer, and if you want to call that maybe like a form of meditation, that would make sense, but I think it's good to step outside of yourself and just humble yourself, and just, even if you're just having a conversation, if you believe, with the mirror in front of you or whatever, I mean, I think there's some therapy in that, but I think if you can surrender and give it up to something and admit that I don't have all the answers. I'm not saying you do either. But what I'm saying is that if you got something to bring to the party for me, higher power, I am open to receiving that. And however you want to show that to me and disclose it to me, I'm open to that too. Let it come. Clearly, nobody has all the answers. Not all the answers. We're going to get them eventually. You know, we'll get them. But ultimately, right? Ultimately, you get all the answers, I guess. I mean, that's what we've been told. What will we truly find out once this golden age moves into the next section of life and history? And what role will we be? You know, I think digital warriors, digital soldiers such as yourself, and those that were purged, I think will be remembered as the intricate part of why this operation worked. Like you think about all the people that you know that you've tried to explain anything to do with any of this and their reaction and this and that. Some of them might be following, but still can't show it emotionally. And they're like, oh, well, you know, you never know. And some people say, and oh, that sounds bad. And oh, you sound conspiracy theorists. You know, that stigmatism has attached itself to many things that most of us have never followed. Have you dipped your toe into aliens? I have dipped a toe. Bigfoot, maybe watched a video, never jumped in. 9/11, probably dipped a foot in there, maybe a whole leg. I don't know. Like, how do we get into Vietnam? You know, any of that stuff, it's all connected. And once you, I hear it used, and I use it a lot myself, but I love the analogy is that when you do take all this information in and you clearly just bring yourself up above it and collectively just look at how it all looks, man, it couldn't be any clearer about how, when they say, let the chips fall where they may, I see, and I'm not special, but I see where all these chips lay. Don't you? You do. I know you do. I know you see it. You guys are amazing people. You know, I think to a certain point, you got to be in touch with yourself in order to even understand this drops that we've been given and the amount of me left at my own devices to figure this out wouldn't be nothing. I would read them and not be able to decipher them. Those that got in there and made work of cross-referencing and understanding them were instrumental. They are a part in this plan. Those channels that got banned were excellent with their software and were great at delivering and understanding and breaking it down. They were great. They played their role. And it really does. I just have to say, it really does stink for them mostly, because most of those channels, they were monetized a little bit, you know, and they had people giving them money and stuff like that. But they were really quite pure in this movement, and I didn't see anything that would warrant them being looked at crazy. You know, some of these people gave up their lives and what they were doing for a living and did really, really great, remarkable work. And when you look at it from the standpoint of this is bringing people into the collective truth of what this whole thing really means, it's very admirable. And we should not look down on anybody that had to work it that way. There are channels that went out there that went rogue, and there's people that went out there and attached themselves to the movement and then 180'd and tried to bring people with them. They just contaminate it. You know, they try to hijack a narrative and take people off the direction of what we've been shown. I think maybe full armor of God, that kind of stuff, you know, keeping yourself in the spiritual realm of seeking wisdom and truth. Let your discernment be really on point. You can keep your discernment on point, and these lunatics, and there's brilliant lunatics that will look at you and dress you down 50 different ways and tell you how you're the lunatic. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I've always been an outspoken individual my whole life. I have never, ever, ever been outspoken on any item that I have not been 100% sure it is what it is, because I never was willing to stick myself out there and put my neck out there on something. But now I don't care. Why? Because all those times I haven't been right my whole life, not by any stretch of the imagination, but my overall bullshit barometer is pretty fucking good, as I imagine most of yours is. We know when someone's freaking lying to us. And when they give you more than one time lying to you and they create a cycle of lying, their hope is that eventually they'll brainwash you into believing that shit. That's where having your discernment, having your prayer, having your inward self being healthy as it can be, with blocking that kind of shit out. If you listen to any of the spin that you listen to on CNN or MSNBC or any of those bullshits, and even parts of Fox, all kinds of parts of Fox, it shouldn't surprise us. Why? We've already been told this was going to happen. Already been told it's going to happen. We already know. Won't surprise me or probably any of you if tomorrow we wake up and social media is down until well after the election. Wouldn't surprise me for a second. You remember those drops that said President Trump is well insulated? By now, you've probably figured out that we're taking our country back. You guys, that's pretty bold. By now, you should probably figure it out. We're taking our country back. Well, I have a hint that at some point in time, we're going to see that tweet or something across the emergency broadcast. And when it happens, you guys all need to have a cocktail and go, fuck yeah. And that's exactly what we were told would happen. And here we go. I'm not stressed. I'm anxious. I tap my foot a lot. My brain goes crazy. I think about shit. I worry. I listen to this stuff. I listen to people on the Democrat side that, I listen to that whole Democrat cross-examination of Amy Coney Barrett, probably the most qualified person that's ever run for Supreme Court. Even though you don't run for it, you get appointed. But in this case, I made her run. So I said, run, and then I'll appoint you. And she said no. And I said, okay, don't run. I'll appoint you anyway because you're highly, highly qualified. And that's what he did. Now, I feel old as a result of talking about Amy Coney Barrett. Some of you will go, Bill, you're a pup. Some of you will go, man, you're old. But what I say is that I am 5 days older than the next Supreme Court justice, which is a lifetime appointment. So, sobering for me. But she's highly qualified. And she's going to do a great job. And she scares the hell out of Democrats, to be honest with you, which should make you happy, because what they're mostly scared of is Roe v. Wade. And why that should, if you're on the fence, well, I believe it is a woman's rights and it is a right to choose. I believe it too. But I think we can all agree that there's really a point of no return. And the point of no return is not the third trimester. And it's probably not the second trimester. Not with the information that we have today. Not with the ability to figure out if we're pregnant or not really quick. So it leads you to ask the next question is why would they want to allow it to get to that point before they'd allow it to be aborted? And then, my friends, comes the sick truth, which Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, has put out there, that they were selling the baby parts. You can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. That's shit. I've seen it. I witnessed it. I heard it. It happened. And they can paint it any way they want. But that shit's real. And if that's real, what else is real? You know, you can't argue with somebody that can't contradict that talking point. So why would you ever try to convince somebody that is just committed to that way of thinking? Why would you even spend a second of time trying to convince them of anything else? Dust your feet off, guys. We got 16 days till the election. Look for your opportunities. I think it's going to be well beyond a blowout. But I would not take that to the bank even for a second. I'll be voting once. I know I said it 3 times, but I'll be voting, regardless. But early voting looks good. It looks good in Michigan. Redneck Preppa in the house. Wow, you're busy, man. Black Belt Theater. Yeah, the Redneck Prepper is here and says socialism take over. I'm not sure what you mean by that, other than if you want it to. I don't want that. I don't think any of us want that. I don't even think the people in Venezuela wanted that. They didn't. That's a bummer there, man. That country was rich. It was like one of the richest countries in South America. No problem. Rich. Now they're beyond poor. They're, which I guess they're not living any better or worse than the people living all over the streets and shitting on the streets in San Francisco and the other cities. I mean, quite honestly, I'm embarrassed for America to even have that. But I also understand it's all to expose these very terrible people within government that are running those areas and those districts, which one happens to be the third in line to the presidency, Nancy Pelosi. So that area is effed in the A. Something's got to happen, and it all leads to this election. I mean, the reason that she hasn't done squat about her area is that she knows that after this election, either A, it won't matter, or B, she'll maybe throw them a few bones if they somehow squeak out the win. But their time's done, guys. That's everything that we've been shown. I'm not worried. I'm anxious. I'm not worried. I'm trusting the plan. I've been told that, and I've accepted to trust that, but they earned that. I didn't throw caution to the wind and say, I'm just going to trust the plan. No, they had to earn me trusting the plan. And they've earned it in spades. They've earned me trusting the plan like you can't imagine. And they have earned that with a lot of people. And these disinformation agents of the deep state that are on television have done nothing but to really show their true colors in all of this. I mean, the bullshit that comes out of their mouth that they say about a president that is taking us out of all these wars. He's getting rid of the footprint of even our soldiers in these countries. He's creating trade deals. He's trying to bring peace. The truth has come out about Iran and all of the money that came from the Obama administration that went in there. You've seen that. You've heard that, right? Just in the last week. I mean, that's all very much proven. We've seen that the money that's been going on with the former vice president and what's going on with his son, who woke up with a certain pipe in his mouth. And the tragedy here is that the debate is whether it was a crack pipe or a meth pipe. Nobody on mainstream television is discussing what the hell, how did this happen, and all of the other information on this guy's laptop. I almost called him a kid, but I realize he's 2 years older than me. He ain't a kid. He's nowhere close to a kid. He blew by being a kid 25 years ago, 30 years ago. We're about to see some really, really liberating shit. I do believe this. When our president gives a rally, he's been setting the narrative now for a little bit of time, not the whole time. But he's very quick to make sure that he adds the words, "The best is yet to come." He's gone beyond fulfilling everything that he said he'd do in the first 4 years. He's gone beyond and he's done things beyond that. Things he never even spoke of. He's breaking ceilings. He is leveling the playing field. He is exercising the true talent and strength of America and what it means as a world. And it really takes, as a world, if you think about it, if you value life everywhere, it's pretty much you either value life or you don't. And when we think about it, there's no reason that anybody should be a slave for any reason. We have the African American community from the left talking about reparations. All right, I'm not going to get into that. All right, there may be sections of that's required and that needs to be discussed. However, people are being treated beyond worse than that. Not just in China, but it's on a global level. It's happening in different areas that aren't westernized, and they're doing this. And I think that these places need to be liberated and will be liberated when this is all done. But it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And the fact that the president has been nominated now for 2021 for 4 Nobel Peace Prizes is pretty significant that they're not saying anything about it at all. Nothing. Not a damn word. Nothing. Can you believe it? I know you sure as shit can. Why? In the question lies your answer. They're bought. They're bought. We know it. You know it. I know. You know it. I know it. They know it. And pretty much the whole world knows it. Okay? The whole world knows it. It's cold, hard facts. It is what it is. The only reason I'll speak bold about any of this is that I believe it. Man, I believe it. And not because I go chasing conspiracies, because I certainly don't. What I should have said is I don't go chasing conspiracy theories, because I don't. This has proven itself to not be a conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy to commit fraud against the American people. And I love saying this, but their attempt to impeach and overthrow a duly elected president. Okay? Duly elected president. Donald Trump. I don't know, man. He's my guy. Got to get him reelected. The first 4 years was about draining the swamp, and he's done a really good job of that. and exposing the deep state for who they are. He's done a really good job of that. We got to get him reelected because the next phase, and he's taking control, by the way, of the central bank. He has. You remember I spoke about it. I said he took the Norman Rockwell painting down, foo, Obama's painting, and he put up Andrew Jackson, who did dispose of the central bank. He said you're a brood. That's a great Trump word when he says you're a brood of vipers. Okay? Vipers. A brood of vipers. He said they're a brood of vipers. Vipers. And he hung them on the wall. And he went, fuck you. That's what he did. He said, I'm taking down the deep state and I'm taking down the central bank. And if you don't like it, there's the door. That is what he did. That comes in the second 4 years. But he has them right where he wants them. I can tell you that. Without exception, he has them right where he wants them to be at this moment in time. If it weren't the case, he could have never pushed the interest rates down to 0. And once he did that, he took control over the central bank. They are screwed. That's how you know you're winning, in addition to all the other reasons you know you're winning. See, these are things that you put into the equity of how do you know it's real? How do you know it's true? How do I know it's true? It's because he did it. He took the control of the central bank. Boom. Okay, how do you know it's true? He did it. Why? The whole Horowitz investigation shows 17 grossly inaccurate things that were done in the FBI and lots more beyond that. How do you know it's true? How? Because you took an entire 3 years with a Mueller investigation and found shit. Nothing. And you can skirt it up with all the bullshit you want. How do you know it's true? How? I saw how they treated Justice Kavanaugh. How do you know it's true? How do I know it's true? All women must be believed except for Tara Reade, the accuser of Joe Biden. How do you know it's true? How do I know it's true? They tried to impeach Trump for a perfect phone call. Perfect phone call. I was just calling to wish him congratulations. In fact, the whole thing was perfect. Okay? Right before you tried to get me with the COVID disease. Put that one there. Impeachment. How do you know it's true? How do I know it's true? How do you think for a second it's not true? What level of thinking could ever make you ever for a second think that the reverse of that is actually what's happening? No. Shh. Sweetheart. No. Mm-mm. It hurts, but we're right and you're wrong. And we wrap our arms around you and say, come on in. Come on in. We're on the 3-yard line. Come on in for the big win. We're about to plow it over the goal line for the big win. Come on. Jump on board. We love you. We love you. We'd love you to come on board. It's really going to be the most amazing thing, until the next amazing thing that happens in this country's history. But this is pretty amazing. It's pretty tremendous what's going on with this movement. So, all right, I'm not sure if I covered everything I wanted to cover tonight. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for dealing with me. I know I'm come out and act all goofy and stuff, but you know what? Like I said to you before, this is probably as therapeutic for me as anything I could do in my life. So I like coming out though, and I like blowing that off so that I have somewhere to funnel it. So leave your comments if you want. If you disagree, say something. If you don't, great. But thanks for coming and hanging out, spending an hour with me, hour and 5 minutes as it would be. And I will actually be going on, I think, Tuesday night. So that being said, love you guys. Have a good night. Don't forget to pray, because I think that works a lot. And be cool. You know, going to be some crazy shit coming up here soon. I do believe. I love you guys. Stay frosty. All right. Stay frosty. But stay open and stay warm. And be cool. Love you. Bye.